Greetings, friends. Today, wilderness cooking is venturing far from our usual home turf, off to explore the wild flavors of a distant land. We've arrived in none other than the birthplace of the famous American steak, Las Vegas. We traveled 7,056 miles to reach this destination. With layovers and transfers, the journey took nearly 23 hours. It's been long, yes, but every minute has been worth it. This is my first time setting foot on this grand land. If you told me 5 years ago that wilderness cooking would be filming in the United States grilling steaks in Las Vegas, I'd have laughed and said, sure, and next we'll cook stew on the moon. So, the moral of the story? Be careful what you dream about, because who knows, maybe next time we really will be simmering soup on Mars or baking bread on the moon. But for now, let's simply gaze up at Earth's luminous satellite from Las Vegas and look forward to the earthly adventure we've got planned for tomorrow. Morning, wonderful people. What about a road trip? Today we're steering through the winding roads of Mount Charleston, Nevada, a land of towering pines, crisp air, and nature so wild and serene, it feels like the mountain is whispering its own stories. This place, believe it or not, reminds me of the hills back home in Azerbaijan. A little more desert perhaps, but the soul, quite familiar. Out here, every turn of the road brings a new view. We have packed a trunk with everything we need. Steak, salt, firewood, and of course a good appetite. Now, there's something about cooking in the mountains that sharpens your senses and makes the food taste richer, even the air feels sweeter. If you're enjoying this adventure, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give us a like. It helps us share more flavors, more landscapes, and more stories from around the world with all of you at our table. After traveling such a long way, my appetite has reached its peak. I honestly can't wait any longer. So, before we pick up our knives and dive into steak prep, let's treat ourselves to something simple but soul-satisfying for lunch. If you ask me, the ultimate rural lunch has to be crumbled eggs with roasted tomatoes and onions. In Azerbaijan, this is a breakfast legend, usually served with a glass of freshly brewed, fragrant black tea. The best part, melting a whole slab of butter in a preheated pan. Watching it slowly dissolve into a golden creamy puddle. It's pure pleasure. And the moment those buttery bubbles appear, in go the chopped tomatoes. Fusion is magic. The tomatoes release their juices almost instantly, creating a sizzling, tangy sweet aroma that fills the air. Absolutely mouth-watering. Right after the tomatoes hit the butter, we crack in a few eggs. Honestly, whoever came up with this combo deserves a medal. The roasted tomatoes bring out this rich, sweet umami, and when paired with creamy eggs, perfection. Now, let me show you how to eat it properly. Grab a piece of freshly baked lavash, dip it straight into the pan, and scoop up all that saucy goodness and eggy softness. This is indulgence at its finest. Every bite is so tender, so creamy, it's comfort on a spoon. It's a simple dish, yes, but packed with nostalgia. The kind that hits you right in the heart. Ask any Azerbaijani and they'll know exactly what I mean. That childhood memory when your mom calls you to breakfast. The table set with cheese, butter, pastries, and right in the center that beloved pan of crumbled eggs and tomatoes. Let's take a slow stroll through the forest and see what kind of wild treasures Nevada has in store for wilderness cooking today. The air is crisp, the pines whisper in the wind, and you never know what kind of surprises nature has tucked between the rocks and trees. From curious critters to breathtaking landscapes, this land feels like a whole new world. Raw, the untamed, and full of inspiration for our next meal. A good steak deserves special treatment and a sauce that will elevate the taste without stealing the spotlight. It should complement, not compete. But let's be honest, many of the classic steak sauces out there are starting to feel a bit tired and predictable. That's why I've decided to break from tradition and whip up something a little different. A creamy, velvety mushroom sauce with rich, earthy notes and just the right hint of garlic. It's indulgent, it's comforting, and it brings out the depth of the steak without overshadowing it. I start by sauteing a generous handful of finely chopped onions in butter, low and slow, just until they turn golden and fragrant. And then in go the mushrooms. I'm using a mix of Gremini and wild mushrooms today. They bring an earthy aroma that instantly fills the pan and makes you hungry all over again. As they soften and release their juices, I'll sprinkle in a touch of thyme. Next comes the cream. I pour it in gradually, letting it simmer until everything melts together into a silky, luxurious sauce. Not only did I travel all the way to America, but I also brought my knives with me too. Wherever I go, no matter how far from home, my knives come along, because for me, they're the beginning of everything. If you treat your kitchen tools with the same respect I do, then you'll want to check out our online shop. I've designed these knives with care and durability in mind. Perfect for both the wild outdoors and your home kitchen. Just scan the QR code and see for yourself. Now, this whipped butter with rosemary, this isn't just a fancy flourish. There's a reason chefs take the time to prepare it, and once you taste it, you'll understand why. But it's the rosemary that does the real magic. That herb isn't just for fragrance, it brings a deep, piney aroma with a slightly resinous bite that pairs beautifully with the rich, meaty flavor of steak. Look at these beef steaks. Just take a second. Look at that marbling. Those delicate white threads of fat weaving their way through the meat like a spider web spun in slow motion. That's what you want to see. When it comes to beef steaks, it's undeniably important to look for the finest marbling. As the steak cooks, that intramuscular fat begins to melt, basting the meat from the inside. It keeps every bite moist and rich, delivering that signature melt-in-your-mouth texture that sets a great steak apart from a good one. Now, let's take that beautiful rosemary butter spread and smother it generously over our steaks. As soon as the butter hits the warm surface, it begins to melt instantly, sliding into the seared edges. You can see the butter glistening, pooling slightly in the crevices, creating this glossy finish. And the smell, oh, the smell is something else. Just look at this brown crust on top. That's the Maillard reaction in action, giving us that deep caramelized exterior that crackles ever so slightly when you press your knife against it. And just before we plate it up, a final touch, a light drizzle of lemon juice. The first bite is unreal. It's rich, it's balanced, and it lingers. The kind of bite that makes you go quiet, that makes you close your eyes and just exist in that one perfect moment of flavor. I hope you could almost taste it through the screen.
Super.
Don't forget to subscribe and give this video a like. Until next time, back home, back to the fire, back with wilderness cooking.